Good evening and welcome to the Book of Dread, the home of twisted tales to tell around the campfire, the kind that will make you want to sleep with your lights on and double check that your door is locked.
We are your hosts, Kerry, and this is Evelyn, and tonight we open our Book of Dread for the very first time and unleash its horrors on the world.
We have two tales for you tonight, both written and performed by yours truly, the Dread Dolls.
Our first tale is a reminder that you are never too old to check that gap under your bed at night.
And the second, it follows a girl very much in love and searching for the perfect gift for her first anniversary with her girlfriend.
So let's dive right in, sit back, relax, and enjoy our very first tale of the evening, The Scratching.
I'm so nervous. I hope Carrie likes the necklace. It's our first anniversary on Saturday and I wanted to get her something really special, something that shows that I put real effort into it. So I made her something. I know handmade gifts are always a risk, especially in such a new relationship. I mean, I don't want to come off as cheap. I really hope she doesn't think that I've made her a gift just so that I don't have to spend money on her. I mean, I do have other little extras for her, things to open, but her main gift is going to be this necklace, and I want her to be blown away by it. Oh God, I've invited her round to my place for dinner tomorrow night, and I'm cooking her a meal too. Maybe that does seem really cheap if I'm not even paying for dinner. Does it? Should I book us into a restaurant? It's just that Carrie gets a little bit stressed out at public displays of affection between us. She's always worried that we'll get snide comments or looks when we hold hands or kiss in public. It hasn't actually happened much, and to be honest, the comments are usually from guys who very much approve of our relationship and they think that we're there for their entertainment. It doesn't really bother me. I don't care what people say or think, but Carrie does, and I want her to be comfortable. I thought that a nice, quiet, romantic meal with just the two of us would let us really be ourselves in our own little private bubble where we can hold hands and kiss and be affectionate. No, it's the right thing to do. I know my girl, and I know she'll love the home-cooked meal and the effort that I've put into it. She works at a law firm and she has plenty of money. She can buy anything that she needs or wants, so I think going down the romantic and sentimental route is definitely for the best. I consider myself something of an artist, a crafter. I actually have a small side business on Etsy selling handmade earrings and necklaces and other jewellery, all my own designs. It's doing pretty well, but not well enough for me to quit my day job. Yet. But it will. I know it will. So that's what I'm making her. A necklace. The most special necklace that I've ever set my hands to work on, or at least I hope it will be. And I've designed it especially for her. It's almost complete. I've been working on it for weeks now. I just need to add one more link, and then after I have that, I need to find the final piece, the crowning jewel if you like, to sit at the heart of it. I just can't settle on one that I like, one that will show her just how much I love her. And I'm running out of time. You can probably tell that the necklace is all that occupies my mind right now. In fact, I was contemplating what to use as a centrepiece as I spaced out in the subway on my way to work this morning, when I was rudely shaken from the thoughts by a hand grabbing my arse roughly. I blinked in surprise and whirled to face a grinning, bearded man. "Blondie, you're really pretty." "Sorry, I'm not interested," I said, and turned my back on him. He got on at the last stop and I had stood up as the next stop was mine. He hadn't sat down, so I'd foolishly assumed that he was getting off at the next stop too. No such luck. Apparently, he'd decided that I was going to be the recipient of his witty banter and smooth flirting that fine morning. "Well, that's rude." He laughed, undeterred, but I can hear that he's a little bit pissed off that I'm not more receptive. Like invading my personal space and grabbing my arse wasn't rude, you fucking caveman. "I have a girlfriend," I tried. It's foolish, really. Carrie always tells me that telling a guy that you're with a woman only fans the flames of a manfolk, and it doesn't put them off as it should do when you're in a happy relationship. My girl, though, I'm loath to admit it, she's usually right. "Ah, okay. So have you tried being with a guy then?" he persists. "Why do you ask?" I turn to face him, feeling myself getting angry. I don't want to get into it, but I can't seem to help myself, and who can blame me when I'm getting ambushed with this clown shoe at 7 o'clock in the morning before I've even had my first coffee? "Well, maybe you only think you like women. You don't know if you haven't tried it, right?" He grins and looks down at his dick as if I hadn't caught on to what he was suggesting that I try. Or maybe you just haven't been with a guy that could satisfy you. Ugh. Typical ignorant manfolk chatter. Why do they think that because they love their penis that everyone else must love it too? What, so you think I'm missing out? I ask coyly. I know you are gorgeous, he says, moving even closer into my personal space. Well, have you tried it? Tried what? He asks. Dick. I mean, you're trying so hard to sell me the benefits and the wonders of the earth-shattering penis, and you're saying that you know that I'm missing out, so you must really love taking it yourself, I smirk. I see a lady sitting in one of the seats near the door flash me a smile before she buries her head behind her iPad again. Well, there's no need to be bitchy about it. I was only being nice and trying to help you. I stay silent and turn my back on him so he knows that I'm not getting into it any further. I've made my point and it's lost on him anyway. Fucking dyke. The lady who'd shared a smile with me gets off at the next stop, but he doesn't. Nor does he get off at the one after that, as I was praying he would, because I can feel his eyes boring holes into me, and this journey has taken an uncomfortable turn for the worst. The train is almost at the end of the subway line before the dickhead finally gets off. I let him get off first, and then I step off the train too, leaving some distance between us in the hopes that he won't notice me and try to engage with me again. I'm sitting in my kitchen now, once again staring at the incomplete necklace, trying to figure out how to make this my greatest masterpiece yet when I don't have anything near adequate to be the centrepiece. I got the last link I needed the other morning, and I've fitted it in place now, but I'm cutting it really fine for time. Our anniversary is tomorrow and I'm starting to panic. The lock on my front door rattles. It can only be Carrie, she's the only other person with a key. I didn't expect her over tonight. I can hear her heels already clacking down my hall. She'll be in the kitchen in seconds and I don't want her to see this yet. I throw open the chest freezer lid beside me and I sweep the necklace from the worktop where it currently lay into the freezer. For all of her many talents, Carrie can't cook at all. Not unless cheese and toast is your thing, so there's no way she'll go in there. I close the lid in the nick of time as she bursts through my kitchen door. I smile at her as she walks in and throws down her car keys on the worktop. She scowls back at me though. That's it, Katie. I'm quitting tomorrow. I don't care how much they're paying me. I'll go stack shelves or cook burgers or something. I can't take working with that condescending, chauvinistic bully of a man anymore. Just because he's a partner and a man, he thinks he can talk down to me and condescend me, she rants, barely taking a breath. Who do you mean? Gary? What's he done now? He called me into his office and he asked how you were, and he invited us over at the weekend, again. He told me how he has his own built-in bar and we wouldn't have to pay for a thing. It would be his treat. Obviously I told him thanks, but no thanks. We're busy. He said we should change our plans, and it was a suggestion, but it was more like an order, Katie. Obviously I still told him no, and I don't think he liked that. Then he made me sit really close to him, allegedly so I could see his screen. The usual. He's such a fucking pervert. And then he just turned on me, no warning. Asked me if I was a fucking idiot. Showed me one of his files that he allegedly told me to action. He absolutely didn't, by the way. And he said he'd caught it just in time to fix it. He went on and on about how experienced he is and how he built his empire from nothing and how much money he makes and he's been doing this job for years and my mistakes, he made out like there was mistakes plural, could cost the business a fortune. I was risking his empire. He wouldn't give me a chance to speak, Katie. And when I did speak, he asked why I was arguing back because he's the boss and I've got no right to argue back. Baby, I'm so sorry. He's a fucking arsehole. You don't deserve that. He makes me feel like I'm just shitting his shoe. I can't stand how unpredictable he is. She bursts into tears, standing in my kitchen, broken and defeated. All because of someone who has an inflated ego and probably tiny dick syndrome and decided to use his position of power against her. Please don't cry, I say, and move to hold her. I cuddle her in against my chest and she burrows closer. Finishing the necklace will need to wait tonight. My girl needs me right now. I'll slip out in the morning to get what I need. Look, it's the weekend. You don't have to go in there tomorrow. Things will look brighter tomorrow, I promise. You can't promise that, Kate. I go in early and I stay late and I do everything that I can to make sure that company's a success. I earn more fees than any other employee and it's just never enough for him, she snuffles. No, I can promise that, baby. It's going to be okay. I'll make sure it's okay. I opened a bottle of her favourite dry gin, poured her several healthy measures, ordered us Chinese takeaway, and I let her rant and cry until she was all out of anger and tears, and then I stole away the last of her tension and stress by going down on her on the couch, cuddling her in when the last of her orgasms had left her body limp. We had some crap thriller playing in the background, and we watched that for a while until she started to drift off. "Come on, baby, let's go to bed," I said. She goes about her business, brushing her teeth, changing for bed. Quite quickly into a relationship, we assigned not just one drawer, but a set of drawers to one another at each house. It's a lesbian cliche, I guess, but girls just understand that other girls have too much stuff to carry around to not have some kind of space at their partner's house. Carrie's asleep almost as soon as her head hits the pillow. They wear pretty strong measures of gin. I wriggle out of her cuddle and quickly grab my discarded clothes that I worn earlier. I'd purposely left them at the side of the bed. I need to get the last piece to complete this necklace. I go downstairs to my workshop and pick up the overalls and gloves and grab the tools I'll need for the job. I throw everything into the back seat of my car and I look through the messages from Carrie, finally landing on the screenshot I was looking for from a few months ago. I plug the address shown in the screenshot into Google Maps on my phone and I'm there in less than 20 minutes. 15 if you take off the 5 it took to walk from where I'd parked my car. Her boss really should be more careful about sending his address to employees in the hope that they show up with their girlfriend for a threesome. It's desperate and he's about to find out that it can be downright dangerous. I know his wife is away. She always is when he makes his futile attempts to invite us over. He's all alone right now in that fancy, reasonably isolated house. The rich do like their privacy. I do a sweep of the perimeter, balaclava providing some much needed heat in this cold winter air. No open windows or easy way to do this. That's the trouble with doing this sort of thing so impromptu instead of planning it out. But this is the perfect gift to my girl, and it needs to be done tonight. His Jeep is in the driveway, just off to the side of the house, and I had backup plans A to G hastily assembled in my head, so I kick it as hard as I possibly can until the alarm blares. I run to the other side of the house, waiting. Sure enough, the balding cretin comes barreling out of the door a few minutes later, swearing and marching to his car, leaving his front door open. I don't hesitate, slinking from my hiding place into his house. I have to find his bedroom so I can get set up. I go room to room upstairs until I find what looks to be the master bedroom. The covers are thrown back and his dirty boxers are on the floor inside his suit trousers. Must be a delight to be married to this guy. I unplug the alarm clock at the side of the bed and plug in the drill that I brought. I slide under the bed and take the drill with me, waiting. He comes back eventually, huffing to himself, and he throws himself onto the bed. He snuffles and snores within 10 minutes, but I leave it longer than that, just to be sure he's out of it. I cautiously creep out when I'm sure that he's asleep, taking my drill with me. I stand over him, psyching myself up, my heart pounding in my ears. I don't usually use such crude methods, but time is of the essence. I don't want to risk a scuffle with this guy. And besides, who really cares how you break the egg when you make an omelette? Normally, I can make the body completely disappear. Not being able to give up my day job as a manager of a local butcher shop hasn't entirely been a burden to me. It has its perks, and it allows for clean-up jobs in the early hours of the morning. That won't be possible here because, quite simply, the man is too fat for me to move, and the bedroom isn't properly prepared for me to break him up into more manageable chunks. So, operating outside of my usual MO is probably a good thing tonight. I raise the drill and bring it down to the centre of his forehead, lining it up before turning it on and putting as much weight as I can manage onto the butt of it. It quickly penetrates his skull and then his brain, and he barely manages a choked whine as his eyes flicker open before the light in them dies. Blood pools immediately in the wound. My most efficient work, if not the cleanest, most sophisticated or the most enjoyable. Well, at least he won't be bullying my girl again. Okay, so now to get what I came for. I pull down his pyjama lounge pants to find a particularly shrivelled and underwhelming penis hiding beneath them. I can't help but smirk, and Carrie and I really will have a laugh about this later. It explains a lot. I take my knife out of my bag, stretch out his meagre little offering, and I slice. I place it in several sealed food bags and put it safely in my bag. Now to stage this a little so the police will be kept busy. I go on a search and find paper and a pen in his briefcase, and I scratch out a note in capitals. I warned you to tell your wife about us. Now she knows. Your penis won't wander anymore. It's mine. I take one of his own kitchen knives and stab it through my note, through his chest and into his heart. I take his wedding ring off and I drop it down his throat. There, motive. One that doesn't point at me. Let them look at the many women he is undoubtedly cheating on his wife with. I put the drill and my own knife in the plastic bags I brought and put them back in my bag. It's been a reasonably clean job. I let myself out, make my way to the outer edge of the property and take off the plastic coverings I'm wearing, shoving them in another plastic bag, and I go back to my car. Job done. I sneak back into my house with my bag and gently and carefully lift out the necklace from the chest freezer. I carry it down to my workshop so that I can add Gary's offering to it. I have 5 penises to make up the links of the necklace, all sewn onto one another, the severed end of one sewn onto the head of the other. I've put hooks attached to clasps through one of the penises at each end of the rope so that Carrie can take it on and off. I have a hook through the centre of the rude guy from the subway's penis, and I'll use that to attach Gary's onto. I'll loop it through the severed end of Gary's penis so that it dangles like a pendant. I take Gary's member from the bag and set to work stitching up the severed end and cleaning it of blood. I carefully put the hook through it and then I curve the hook around so that it meets itself. Then I solder it, sealing it. I put it on the mannequin bust that I use to display my necklaces. The links of the necklace are still frozen, so it looks a little bit off, but by the time it comes to gift exchange tonight, I've no doubt it will look spectacular. A necklace fit for my queen. I check my watch. It's only 4 AM, so I still have time to go shower and get back to bed before Carrie notices that I'm missing. It's almost 7 PM now, and I'm nervous as hell. I'm waiting on Carrie coming over. She left this afternoon to go feed her cat, Bagpuss, and to get changed and pick up my presents. That's given me a chance to make sure her present has been defrosted properly, and it's now chilling in the fridge, so it should still be fresh, and it'll let me start preparing dinner. I might have spent a little bit of time getting myself looking pretty too. I want to look good for her. She lets herself in just before 7, always punctual, and she greets me with a huge smile, a big hug and a kiss. "Happy anniversary, beautiful," she says, holding me tight. "Happy anniversary, my love. I'm making steak. Is that all right?" I ask. "That's perfect," she says. Why is all your food out on the worktops?" she asks. I had to take the shelves out in the fridge to make space for the mannequin wearing her gift. "You'll find out," I smile. "Okay, that's mysterious. Before we eat, can we do present exchange? I'm so excited about my gift for you." "Could I possibly give you mine first?" I ask. I'm so nervous, my tummy swirls nauseously and I just wanted to see it and get a reaction to it over with. "Of course," she says cheerfully, setting the gift bag, which presumably contains my gift, onto the table. "Okay, so I got you lots of different little bits and pieces in here," I say, sliding her gift bag towards her, "but I want you to see your main present first." "Okay, I'm so excited to see it," she smiles. I go to the fridge and lift out the mannequin wearing the penis necklace, carrying it to the table where she sits. I set it down in front of her, bracing for her reaction. It's... She stumbles around for words, clearly shocked and hopefully it's just surprise. "It's penises?" she says uncertainly. I nod quietly, the bile in my throat rising as I start to fear the worst. What if she's disgusted by it? By me? It's a necklace, and it's made of penises." "Those are real penises?" "Yeah, it's a penis necklace. Your own little collection. They're fresh, they're not preserved yet. I've kept them fresh for you to see tonight. But I will preserve them for you so they don't rot. I just wanted them to be fresh and perfect," I babble. "I've been working on it for weeks, and well, the one in the middle is Gary." "It's Gary, your boss," I trail off. My boss Gary. And I'm not sure if it's a question or not. "That's my boss Gary," she says again. It's a part of him, yeah." "So you killed him." "How did you kill him? When did you kill him?" she asks, her eyes wide. "Last night. I snuck out. I wanted that one to be really special for you." I pointed at the centre penis. "I wanted to fix the work situation for you. So, yeah, that one's Gary." "And the others?" "Men that have hassled me, or hassled us when we're out. The one on the right there is Gavin, that guy that was cheating on your sister." You killed Gavin. Yeah, I thought he had it coming. I thought you'd be pleased, I say, hoping she takes that as a cue to tell me that she is pleased. She doesn't, and I'm really worried now. She doesn't say another word for a full minute. She just stares at the necklace with a strange, unreadable look on her face. Carrie? She asks, almost absently. Baby, did I cross a line? Should I not have? Can you please just say something? You're scaring me, I admit, and I can hear that my voice sounds strained. Oh, she says as she finally tears her eyes away. I'm sorry, I was just shocked. Katie, it's... Her eyes are welled up now. I love it. It's so thoughtful. No one's ever done anything like this for me before. You like it? I ask, relief washing over me. I was starting to worry that I should just call the police myself. Katie knows about my little extracurricular activity, my collecting. She found out 6 months ago when she let herself in and found me working on preserving another penis for my collection. We talked it out, and she accepted my hobby, but she asked that I keep it as private as possible and to keep her out of it. I was worried that I crossed the line tonight, but it seems to have been taken in the spirit that it was intended. No, I love it. It's so sweet and thoughtful. It's beautiful. And I can't believe you dealt with Gary. She gets up and throws her arms around me. Would you want to try it on? I ask. I didn't think she'd actually want to wear it. I thought maybe she'd just want it for decoration. She surprises me by stepping back and nodding enthusiastically. She turns and lifts her hair up to allow me to put it on. I unclasp the necklace from the mannequin and drape it around her neck. She turns to face me again. So how do I look? She asks, my very own piece of art displayed proudly around her neck. You look beautiful, I almost whisper. My own eyes well up now. Okay, I know you got me other gifts, but can you please open the one I got for you now? Please, she grins and almost bounces with excitement. Sure, baby, I'd love to. I pull a box out of the gift bag and delicately unpick the wrapping paper. God, just rip it, Kate. Hurry up or I'll need to help you, she laughs. Fine, I fake huff, but I oblige and rip off the wrapping paper. It's a leather-bound box, quite long. Open it, she urges. I nod and lift the lid, greeted by the most beautiful sight I've ever seen. 2 hunting knives, a matching set, handles carved intricately with an anatomical heart, and the blade emblazoned with Carrie and Katie. What do you think? She asks. I love them, but why are there 2? I ask. Not that I'm complaining. Because I want to come with you next time, she says, almost shyly. There's one for you and there's one for me. Come with me? You mean to collect? I love you. We have the same interests and hobbies, and we can do everything else together. Except this. I don't want you to wait until I'm sleeping, or until I'm gone, or to feel like you can't when I'm around. This is a big part of who you are, and I want to be involved in it, she says, holding my hands. Katie. Wow. Thank you, I say, and it's my turn to be overwhelmed. I love you, baby. She's my perfect soulmate, accepting every part of me. And now we'll hunt unfaithful, lecherous, seedy men together. My collection is now our collection. I think there's something under my bed. My boss doesn't believe me, and to be honest and completely upfront about it, I don't even really know whether to believe it myself. I can't trust my own senses. I'm a diagnosed schizophrenic, you see, so sometimes I just don't know what to believe. I've had a therapist most of my life, had the right pills, learned how to cope with the unrealities that my brain throws at me. I've mostly learned to apply logic to the things that I sometimes hear or see or think. That helps me figure out what's there and what's not. And I have a great support network of people that I can trust that help me figure things out. You know, on the occasions that I can't be sure. I can trust them and their senses when I can't trust my own. I've had a lot more help than some people with my condition, so I like to think that I'm pretty well adjusted, and I'm grateful for that. Wait, sorry, I'm I'm talking in the present tense again. I had people I could trust. Had, not have. That's important to know, and is part of the problem because I really need those people right now. My parents, my lifelong trusted people who could tell me the truth of what was what and what was not, they died last year. My best friend Kaylee, my other most trusted person, she died with them. We were on our way to see the Wicked musical. It was my birthday, you see, and the tickets, they were Kaylee's present to me because she knows I love Wicked. I loved it. I can't listen to it anymore. I was driving so they could drink. I don't drink on my meds. I didn't drink on them. I'm not on meds anymore. I can't afford them with the crappy salary I get flipping burgers at the diner. My parents' big salaries and their medical insurance, that covered me and my condition my whole life. But it died with them. And the life insurance and our family home got swallowed up repairing me after the accident. And it paid out for the damage to the other vehicles and the building I hit. The insurance companies got out of paying because they said I hadn't fully declared the extent of my illness when I got my license. They were right. We all figured it wouldn't matter because I was okay. I was managing to function like a regular person, so there was no reason that I couldn't drive. But as usual, my condition has totally fucked me. A blackout related to my condition, that's what they said caused the accident. Me. For all the strange things that I've seen and heard and done, I'd never experienced a blackout before, not until then, although I hear it's a common enough symptom for people like me. One minute we were listening to the Wicked soundtrack in the car, and my parents, they were in the back laughing. And then the next thing I knew, there were red and blue flashing lights, sirens, I guess. I was being cut out of the car, and there was just so much blood, the stench of copper. And then, thankfully, I guess, I faded to black again, and I didn't wake up for another 3 weeks. I woke up hooked up to all kinds of machines in the hospital, and all I could think was that I wish I'd died with my people. I didn't, though, and I'm managing. As best as I can, I try not to think about how I killed them, and instead, I try to think about how my parents wanted me to be happy, and how they wouldn't blame me for what happened. I didn't mean to black out. I use the logic and rationalizing techniques my therapist showed me when the thoughts and the hallucinations and the voices creep back in. I ignore it all as best as I can. It's harder without the meds, and without my parents, and without Kaylee, but all things considered, I've been doing okay the past 6 months. I've been existing, being a functioning member of society. I get up, I wash, I go to work, I eat, I clean up, I watch TV, I go to bed, and then I repeat. It's a routine, and that helps. Well, helped. Past tense. I'm sorry. I know I sound a bit frazzled, and when you hear my story and what the fuck has been going on with me, you get why. I've been existing quite, well, not happily, but reasonably numbly, plodding along right up until 4 days ago. I've been sleeping on the sofa that was already in the apartment I'm renting because I couldn't afford to buy a bed. I broke my shoulder and arm, as well as 3 ribs in the crash. They've healed mostly, but the old couch was playing havoc with them, so I decided it was time to splash out in a second-hand bed with my latest wage packet. I looked online at a local buy and sells ad site, hoping for something relatively cheap that I could pay a man with a van to collect for me. Boy, did I get it. I searched my zip code, and I was shocked to find, posted 1 minute before, a sponsored ad that said, hand-carved antique bed free to a good home. Will deliver free, but must be gone tonight. There were pictures of a single bed, a walnut color with a large, very ornate headboard. It was a little garish for my tastes, and it would look wildly out of place in my apartment, but I didn't care about that. Finally, something was going my way, it seemed. I called the number listed immediately. I didn't want someone else to steal away my bargain, and the person on the other end answered on the second ring. "Is it about the bed?" a guy on the other end of the phone asked abruptly. "Yeah, I was just wondering if—" "I still have it if you want it, but you need to take it right now." "That's fine. I'd love to have it now. I'm really grateful to you. It's very kind of—" I didn't get to finish my sentence before he butted in again. "It's not for a kid, is it? A kid won't be sleeping in it." "A kid? No, it's just me. And it'll beat the hell out of sleeping on my couch." "You'll be using it tonight. Sleeping in it straight away." "Yeah, Like I say, I've been sleeping on my couch, so... Again, he interrupted me, and if I wasn't getting a free, delivered bed out of this, I'd have been more pissed about it. Great, you can have it then. I'm bringing it right now, he said. I wasn't sure what the guy's problem was. Was he checking that I really needed it before giving it to me or something? Okay, thank you, I managed before he started talking over me again. I'll call you when I'm outside so you can open the door for us. My buddy and I will bring it in for you, right into the room where you sleep. What's the address? I started to question if this was a good idea. His questions were strange, and he seemed a little too keen. Maybe he just wanted access to my house so he could rape and murder me. Him and his gang of friends. But then, my therapist's voice kicked into my head. Not a real voice, I know that, but a little trick I like to do sometimes to sort my head out. Logic, Nicky. Use your logic. He could be a murderer, or a rapist, I guess. Stranger things have happened. But would he really put out a random ad, not knowing who would respond first? And it's only 5:30 p.m., so it's not like it's the middle of the night, sweetheart. He could just want rid of the bed for space, or because he had a new one, or because he'd caught his girlfriend cheating in it or something. If you're worried about it, test him. She was right, of course. She always is. My boyfriend and his brother are here right now. They can maybe give you and your friend a hand in with it, I said, taking my therapist's logic and applying it. It's only a single bed. I'm sure my buddy and I will manage. But they can help if they want. No skin off my nose. So what's the address? I told him my address, satisfied that he didn't plan to murder me. He Google mapped it and he said he'd be there in 15 minutes. He was there in 11. We're here, lady, he grunted into the phone, and then he hung up. I headed downstairs and they were already waiting outside the door, the bed held up between them. Hi, I smiled. What floor are you on? The one at the front asked, and I knew this was the guy that I'd been talking to on the phone. He was a short, burly guy in his 40s, with a thick neck and tired-looking eyes. He looked like he hadn't slept for a week. He had a black beanie that was pulled down as far as it would go, and I was surprised that he could even see out from under it. His friend was the opposite, tall and lanky with the longest neck I've ever seen. He was wearing a backwards baseball cap and he kept his eyes fixed to the ground. I'm on the second floor, first door on the right. I left the door open for you, I said. And with that, the two of them started up the stairs, maneuvering the bed around the corners. The tired-eyed guy, he was cursing softly along the way. They caught their fingers in the process and bashed the bed into the handrail at points. Right, what room? Right along the hall there, right at the back. That's where the bedroom will be. Now that I have a bed, I said, trying to be friendly. The pair dropped the bed in the corner of the room, underneath the window, and no sooner had they set it down than they were on their way to the door. Look, I don't have much money, but I can offer you something for gas, or to get yourselves a coffee or something. Something for the trouble, I offered, scurrying along at the back of them. They were moving that quickly. I have $20 here. The guy with the tired eyes whirled around, and for a moment I swear that he looked absolutely terrified. Lanky guy turned too, but he shuffled his feet and kept his gaze low. I don't want your money, lady. Don't you dare offer to pay me or buy that bed from me. It's free. Free. The ad made that perfectly clear. It's a gift from me to you. It's a gift that you're accepting willingly into your home. Okay, I said, totally bewildered. I thought the guy was acting like a nutbag, and I wished that Kaylee was there so that she could confirm that. He softened a little then, his shoulders relaxing. You put that money away, dear. Use it for groceries or something. I have plenty. You go fix up your bed with your own quilt and pillows, and you get yourself a good night's sleep. With that, he turned and he and his friend left. Thank you, again, both of you. Don't thank us, the tall, lanky one muttered, and he shot his angry-eyed friend a glance. A weird glance, I thought. The strangest guys ever. But then, who am I to judge, I thought. Pot kettle, my therapist's voice confirmed. I looked over the bed. It was pretty good condition. A couple of chips here and there, a strange scorch mark on one of the legs, but otherwise the frame seemed sturdy and like it was good for the next 100 years, which was just as well because I assumed it would need to last me for the rest of my life. I expected the mattress to be worn beyond use or full of strange stains or both, but it was in good condition, a little yellowed, Frayed with age, maybe, but pretty good for a freebie. No sign of bedbugs either. I wondered why those men didn't sell it. Would probably have fetched a pretty penny at one of those antique places. But now I know. I know why they didn't sell it. I'm getting ahead of myself. Since the bed and its delivery cost me nothing, I decided to go out and treat myself to a new pillow, a new quilt, and a new bedding set. Budget value range, obviously, but still, new. A rare luxury to me these days. I picked up the bedding items and some groceries, and I got back from the store around 7. I fixed up my bed, and I was more than happy to climb into it right there and then. I was due to get back up at 10:30 to start at 11 p.m. for my shift, so I needed to get some rest. I pulled on an oversized t-shirt that I kept at my dad's, turned out the lights, and I got into my new, to me, bed. It was super comfy, and it felt like it hugged my back and my head at the same time, almost like the expensive memory foam one I used to have before all of our assets got swept up. It wasn't long before I fell asleep. It also felt like it wasn't long before I was woken up by a strange scratching sound. I was dopey from sleep, and I couldn't quite figure out where it was coming from at first, but when I really started to listen to it, it sounded like it was coming from under the bed, like someone running their nails along the wooden frame right underneath my head. Hard. The darkness in the room felt like it was pressing in on me. It felt like there was something there. My brain helpfully told me. Mice are probably nesting in it. If something looks too good to be true, it probably is. You know the demons aren't real, sweetheart. We've been through this. My therapist's voice reassured me. She was right. Probably. But still, nothing wrong with being cautious whilst I checked, right? So I vaulted off the bed and raced to the light switch at the door. I flipped it on, and my bare little room was bathed in light. And I was glad that it was bare. It meant there was less shadows, less stuff for anything to be hiding behind. I felt a bit better then. The scratching had stopped. I looked under the bed. From a distance, of course. I wasn't going to be sticking my head under there. I'm not stupid. But it was empty. There was nothing there. I hadn't had the bed long enough to start storing anything under there, so it was completely clear. I flipped the mattress and examined it for holes. Nothing. It was intact, and I couldn't see anywhere that mice could get in. Nothing obviously wrong with the frame beneath the mattress either. The flat beneath me was empty just now, so it wasn't like the neighbors were making noise. Nothing was scratching under the bed. You just thought it was, my therapist said. And God, was it so obvious now that she'd pointed it out. And I was so relieved. Just my dumb brain, imagining things again. I could go back to sleep and not worry. I put the bed back in a semblance of order, and I checked my phone for the time, expecting that maybe half an hour had passed. It didn't feel like I'd been asleep for that long. But it was 3:30 a.m. I had somehow slept in spectacularly for my shift. My alarms had been set. I knew they had. So I assumed that they'd gone off and I just hadn't heard them. I had 2 missed calls that I somehow hadn't heard either. I called the shift manager and I told her I'd be there ASAP, that my phone had died. She was pissed, but it's not like I make a habit of it. I threw my clothes on and I left for work. Someone on the day shift had called in sick, so I stayed on to cover to hopefully make my boss forget about my lateness. It was my day off the next day anyway, so I could go home and get a proper night's sleep afterwards. I got in around 6 p.m. I took a burger and fries home with me, sat and watched a little TV for a while to unwind, and then I got ready for bed. I could sure do with a rest. I climbed into bed. The scratching from the previous night was completely forgotten, and I fell asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow. I woke up with a start, though. Something that sounded like sharp nails dragged along the bed frame. It sounded like they were digging deep gouges out of the wood. I lay there for a second, my eyes adjusting to the darkness, and I listened. And I tried to figure out what could be making the noise, using my rational brain. It's either something completely mundane, completely explainable, or, Nikki, it's not there at all. I relaxed a little bit. I realized that she was probably right. There would be a rational explanation for this. I decided, since it probably wasn't real anyway, to look under the bed. So I took a deep breath, I sat up, and I was trying to psych myself up to put my whole head under the bed. Oh my God, am I glad that I didn't. And I hope I imagined what I saw next, if I didn't. I don't really want to think about if I didn't imagine it. It was a black hand, gnarled, clawed. It wasn't human. And it disappeared under the bed. I gasped and I lay back down again. I drew the covers up over my head. I was terrified. I mean, I was trying to figure out if I really had just seen that. And the scratching, it got louder, right underneath my head. I lay listening to it, and it just got louder and louder, like the damn thing was gonna burst right through the frame. And then it seemed to get more muffled. The sound had changed in quality, like whatever it was no longer scratching on the wooden frame, but it managed to scratch through it, like it was scratching into the mattress, the fabric. I held myself rigid. I was too afraid to move or breathe, and I just squeezed my eyes shut. I didn't want to see it, whatever it was. I mean, I just wanted to rationalize it. I just wanted to lie there and wait for the sun to come up and wait for my therapist to convince me that it wasn't real. I don't know when I fell asleep or how I fell asleep, but I did. I woke up disorientated, feeling more tired than I had my entire life. The events from the night before came back to me in a surge of panic, and I sprang off the bed, scared that if I swung my legs over the side, something would grab me by the ankles and pull me under. I grabbed my phone from where it lay on the floor beside the bed. I still hadn't gotten round to buying a bedside cabinet yet. And the clock read 6, which couldn't be right. At the time, I assumed that it meant 6 in the morning, but it was actually 6 p.m. the next evening. I'd lost a whole day, slept almost 24 hours. I shot an uneasy glance at the bed, at the gap beneath it. The gap looked darker than it should be, in daylight. And then I saw the scratches on the side of the bed. They weren't there before. I inspected the damn thing myself. But now, there were deep gouges in the wood where I'd seen that blackened hand. I felt bile rise in my throat, and a rising, overwhelming terror. I fled from the room, shutting the door tight behind me, and I backed away from it. I was half expecting whatever was living under my bed to start rattling at the door handle. It didn't. Still, I was totally over this bed. I had a plan, though. I would sleep on the sofa again, and I would sell that thing as soon as I was able to. Screw what my therapist's voice thought about it. I went for a shower, and then I got dressed for work, and then I tried to watch some TV. That was my routine, and usually it helped to ground me if I was feeling a little bit frazzled. But I ended up leaving early. I felt too uneasy in my apartment. It felt... I don't know how to really describe it. It just felt wrong, like there was something there watching. Like my apartment was sick. I figured that by the time I got back next day, it would be light again, and maybe it would be safe. My manager, Rona, would be on shift too, and though she's no Kaylee, I thought that maybe I could run this past her. See if she thought that there really could be something living under my bed. Rona laughed in my face. Girl, I know you can't seriously be asking me if I think there's a monster under your bed. She made a face as she watched me flip the burgers. What age are you? 12? I know how it sounds, but I told you I saw this demon hand, and there's this weird scratching noise right underneath my head. It would explain why that guy was so desperate to get rid of it. Maybe he saw the clawed thing too, like maybe he was passing on the curse. What do you think? The curse. So your bed's cursed now. Cursed or possessed? Either way, I need to get rid of it. You're not serious. She shot me a wary look. It's a look that I'm used to. I know what it means. And I knew that it meant that she was trying to figure out if I was messing with her or if I was just plain crazy. Forget about it. It's probably just a dream, right? I asked. I wish I could believe that. I wish she was Mom, or Dad, or Kaylee. Yeah, dreams can feel super real sometimes. But Nikki, you know it was just a dream. This wasn't about your schizophrenia. She almost whispered the last word, like it was something dirty. No, it's not that, I said. Just a dream. 'Cause you know I took a chance hiring you with something like that. I really stuck my neck out for you. And I don't want that to bite me on the ass. It was just a dream, Rona, I said, and it was really hard to keep the annoyance out of my voice. What a bitch. I knew I shouldn't have declared an interview. Companies say they're equal opportunities and disability friendly, but they're not. I'm surprised you slept enough to dream last night, though. You look pretty shitty. Like you pulled an all-nighter, Nikki. You ain't never heard of concealer? She followed up. God, how is she even a manager? Way to motivate your staff. Thanks. I slept, just not well, I said. I was hurt at her responses, and she just made clear that she wasn't a trusted person, nor would she ever be. I bent to pick up a bag of fries to refill the fryer, and I heard a gasp. The fuck happened to your head? My head? What do you mean? I'm probably best just to show you, she said. She took her phone out of her apron pocket and snapped a picture of the back of my head before handing me the phone. I nearly dropped it. Patches of my hair were missing at the back, and I had what looked like scars. 4 long scars, like something had dragged its fingernails down the back of my skull. How could I be scarred if I didn't ever notice wounds? If I didn't ever bleed? And if Rona could see them? Well, that meant that it wasn't something that my brain was making up, and it also meant that I didn't just make up the monster under my bed. Rona, it was the monster, I whispered, wrapping my arms around myself as my whole body came up in goosebumps. I felt sick and scared to my very core. I wanted my mom. Monster? The bed thing again? Did you do this to yourself, Nikki? Do it to myself? Do it to myself? I don't even have nails, Rona. How in the hell am I gonna gouge chunks out of my own head and have it heal in one day when I don't have any nails? You keep your voice down. The customers will hear you. Look, I'm putting through an emergency holiday. I can't have you dealing with customers like this. Sort yourself out tonight, and you come back here in a better state tomorrow. Don't you dare bring your baggage back here. Rona... Fine, I sighed. I wanted to say more, but I really, really need this job. A cold, sick pit of dread had settled in my stomach, and it swept through me for the first time as I made my way home and tried to figure out what to do. Rona didn't actually tell you what she was seeing in the pictures. She just said there was something wrong with your head. Maybe you imagined the claw marks, and all she could see was missing patches of hair. The voice of my therapist helpfully chimed in. Even if it was in my head, at that point I knew I had to get rid of the bed for my own sanity. There was nothing much I could do there and then since it was 1 a.m. in the morning, but I could pay a man with a van to take it to the dump in the morning. I could sell it like I'd planned to, or I could give it away. But then the question of what if there was a monster living under it came into my head. Now that wouldn't be ethical to pass on. I unlocked the door to my apartment, and I went straight to my living room. I figured that the creepy old bed could stay shut up in the bedroom for that night, and I didn't plan to go anywhere near it. I thought that I'd sort out the uplift of it the next day. I pulled on the previous night's pajamas, grabbed my old throw, and I got comfy on the sofa. I fell asleep watching some old cowboy movie. I woke up to that scratching sound, loud and in time with my breathing, and almost like it was inside my head, like when you put your fingers in your ears and you can hear yourself breathe. My eyes snapped open. I was in bed. In the bed. Now I know for a fact I went to sleep on the sofa, but somehow I ended up in that damn bed again. I scrambled out from under the covers and I turned on the light. The scratching stopped immediately. I could see black tufts of my own hair lying on the pillow, and a quick feel at the back of my head reminded me of the scars on my scalp. Instinctively, I called the number for the guy that had sold me the bed. The automated voice on the other side of the phone told me that the number had been disconnected. What a fucking asshole. I felt like I was losing it. Have you ever felt like you were losing it? I have. Many times before, but I had glue. I had my mom. I had my dad. I had Kaylee. I don't have that now. And I have tried so hard to keep my marbles over the years. I figured and I hoped that this couldn't be real. This had to be some sort of mental break. I'd slept the whole day and a chunk of the night away again. It was midnight, and I was late for my shift. I knew I'd be lucky if Rona didn't sack me after last night and a second lateness in just a few days. I tugged on my work clothes, tied back my hair to hide the ever-growing patch of bald spots, and I raced to work. Rona wasn't happy. She asked how I was feeling. I lied and said I felt great after a proper night's sleep. She asked about the monster under my bed, and I told her that I knew it was a dream, and that I wouldn't mention it again. She eyed me doubtfully and put me on frying duty. I worked away quietly for a few hours. The routine was calming, peaceful, and I almost forgot about the bed. Bobby was in tonight, serving out front. He was popping in every now and then to pick up plates of food I prepared, and we were having mundane, but also calming, small talk. Soothing normality. I was plating up hot dogs and onions for the latest order that had come in. Bobby was waiting on it beside me. He was telling me about the baseball game he was going to this weekend. My right hand suddenly reached out and grabbed the knife that I'd been chopping the onions with. I could no longer feel that hand or control it. I could feel that presence with me suddenly, the one from under the bed. I looked at the hand in horror as it tightened its grip on the knife. It was blackened, clawed. It was that gnarled thing I'd saw appear from under my bed. It no longer looked like my hand. Bobby babbled on about his baseball game, oblivious to the danger he was in. I could feel the thing's intention to harm. I screamed and, on instinct, I dipped my hand in the hot fryer oil. Agonizing pain seared through my hand and I quickly jerked it out. When I held it up, it was my hand again, albeit red and angered and blistering. "Oh my God, Nikki! What are you doing?" Bobby, the waiter, yelled at me. It wasn't my hand," I said weakly. "It was going to hurt you." Time seemed to fly in a blur after that. Rona appeared at some point, first aid box in hand, yelling at me, telling me I needed to go to the emergency room, urging me to let her take me. I told her that I'd be fine, that I didn't have any health insurance anyway. Asked her to patch me up as best as she could, and she did. She told me I couldn't come back, though, that I was a danger to myself and to others. I numbly unlocked the door to my apartment. It felt like that thing was still with me, even though it wasn't controlling my hand anymore. It was like a presence, sitting on my shoulder, waiting, lurking, wanting me to sleep. I have to get rid of that bed. So, here I am now, sitting on my sofa with a coffee, doped up to my eyeballs with painkillers, typing with my left hand, the one that's not totally frazzled to a crisp, putting up an ad for the bed. It's free to anyone who can come and collect it. And I won't sleep again until it's gone. I no longer care if I'm making it up in my head or not, and even my therapist's voice agrees with me that it no longer matters. If I'm not, I definitely need the bed out of my house because it's going to kill me, or it's going to kill someone else. If I am making it up, then this delusion has started to ruin my life, and getting rid of the thing that started it, it can only help get my life back on track. I stare at my phone. I'm willing it to ring. I need this bed to be someone else's problem. I'm not equipped for this. 5 minutes pass, and then half an hour, and then an hour, and all the while I'm checking the damn ad to make sure I typed my number correctly. Why the hell isn't anyone ringing? It's antique, and it's probably worth money, and it's free. My phone remains annoyingly and persistently quiet. I pick it up and I glare at it. And then, when I see the time on the screen, I can't help but laugh out loud. It's nighttime. No one will be up. And if they are, buying etiquette indicates that you can't call or message at this time. I make myself another pot of coffee. It's going to be a long night. Finally, my phone rings at 9:05, and I almost drop the phone as I fumble trying to answer it. It barely gets past the second ring. Hello, is it about the bed? I ask, the excitement creeping into my voice. Yeah, I saw your ad on, they start, but I'm eager to get this moving and I don't have time for the small talk. Great, it's antique, it's in good condition, and, most importantly, it's completely free if you can uplift it today. Today. Today could be an issue for me, the voice on the other end says. Some woman. Somebody that clearly doesn't need a bed urgently. Oh, so what, that's a problem for you? You don't need a free bed? I can't help but snap. I know I'm being short-tempered, but what the fuck? No, I do. I just don't think I can manage to fit in collecting it before the weekend. Would that be okay? No, it wouldn't be okay. That's why it says free if you can uplift it today. If you can't uplift it today, I'll wait for someone to call who can. Whoa, wait. Don't be like that. How soon do you need it gone? ASAP, now. I need it gone within the hour. Fine. What's your address? I'll make it work. Before I tell you that, this isn't for a kid, is it? Nah. No, I hate kids. It's for me. I just moved out of my ex's place. Why do you ask? So you'll be sleeping in it tonight, if you pick it up today. I ignored the questions. I have enough questions of my own. The man who gave it to me asked plenty, and maybe they were important. Maybe the next person had to sleep in it to inherit the curse. That's another strange question. I guess so. Why does it matter? I just wanted to go to someone who really needs it. Have you got a pen and paper for the address? I ask, and I give her the details. And then I heave a sigh of relief. Not long to go now, and that bed will be out of my life forever. She comes over precisely 58 minutes later. I was starting to get worried that she was a time waster. She and 2 of her lackeys take the bed out to their van. She thanks me, and then she and that bed are out of my life. She seems like a level-headed woman, someone more equipped to handle a demon/monster/curse than I am. I won't feel guilty about this because I didn't ask for it either. Don't judge me. I can feel you judging me. I've lost my parents. I've lost my best friend. I lost my therapist. I'm not allowed to drive anymore. I've just lost my job. And I'm probably going to lose this apartment when I can't stump up the rent. I've lost a lot. More than that woman, I'd wager. So what if I've passed on a demon? She's smart. If I figured out that I had to pass it on, she will too. No harm, no foul. So don't expect me to feel guilty about it. I'm sorry. I know I'm short-tempered. I'm just tired and frazzled. I don't want to fall asleep until I know that that woman has slept in that bed, and that whatever is wrong with it has its sights set on her. So I set myself up for another long day and night. I guess no time like the present to search for a new bed. Ideally something not haunted. A nice place for me to rest my head. I go on to the buy and sell page, and I almost throw up. There's my bed, my cursed bed, sitting in some warehouse with other old stuff pictured in the background. It's advertised for sale at $2.5K. Contact Mary at Mary's Curiosities for more information. That bitch never intended to sleep in it. At that price, it's not going to be a quick sale. And it's too expensive for me to buy it back and pass it on to someone. So, here I sit, defeated, on my sofa, fighting my eyelids, waiting for sleep to claim me. I'm waiting to find out if getting rid of the bed was enough to save my life. My eyelids droop, and I lose my battle with sleep. I feel cold. Long, gnarled fingers begin to creep around the side of my head, and they cover my eyes, plunging everything into darkness. So, now we close the Book of Dread. What did you think of tonight's tales? Will it make you think twice before grabbing some girl's ass in a nightclub, fellas? Will it stop you from looking down your co-worker's top? Well, maybe it should. Or else, you may end up with your most prized possession hanging on the penis collector's wall.
Perhaps the scratching has taught all you Agent Scully types out there that sometimes seeing really should mean believing. What did you think of tonight's offerings? Please do let us know in the comment section below.
And if you liked what you heard, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell notification icon. That'll let you know the next time that we open up the Book of Dread.
Sleep well, listeners.
And sweet dreams.